Good morning, everyone. Pull up a chair, grab a warm cup of coffee, and let me tell you something right out of the gate that might completely turn everything you think you know about getting older upside down. For as long as most of us can remember, the mainstream medical establishment has handed down the exact same script to seniors. They tell you to slow down, put your feet up, take things easy, and just gracefully accept the inevitable decline that supposedly comes with the territory of blowing out 75, 80, or 85 candles on your birthday cake. It is treated like a one-way street, a slow fade that you just have to live with. But what if I told you that the most groundbreaking, jaw-dropping longevity research of the last 10 years completely shatters that old-school advice? What if the real secret to staying sharp as a tack, strong as an ox, and fiercely independent well into your 8th and 9th decades has absolutely nothing to do with what your doctor mumbled during your last 15-minute checkup? What if it all comes down to a few simple, remarkably potent daily habits that the vast majority of people your age have quietly abandoned simply because nobody told them the truth? My name is Dr. William, and over the course of more than 2 decades working directly with patients navigating the 75 to 85 age bracket, I have witnessed a profound phenomenon unfolding right before my eyes, something that the cutting-edge scientific world is only now beginning to officially validate. The folks who age the best, the ones who are still confidently driving themselves to their own morning appointments, the ones out in the yard tending to a beautiful garden, the ones who can remember every single grandchild's birthday and phone number without ever having to write a single thing down. They do not possess some magical genetic lottery ticket. They do not spend a fortune on exotic, expensive supplements shipped in fancy bottles. Instead, they share a very specific, deeply intentional set of daily behaviors. A truly landmark study published by the renowned Stanford Center on Longevity threw a massive spotlight on this. Researchers meticulously followed over 4,200 adults between the ages of 70 and 90 for a grueling, thorough 12-year period. What they uncovered sent shockwaves through the medical community. The seniors who managed to maintain just 4 or more of these specific daily habits were a staggering 61% less likely to experience what researchers formally classify as accelerated functional decline. In plain, honest English, that means the rapid, heartbreaking loss of physical and mental independence that sends far too many older adults into assisted living facilities years, if not decades, earlier than necessary. Think about that number for a second. 61%. That is not a minor statistical blip on a chart. That is not a subtle difference. That is the monumental, life-defining difference between living your golden years completely on your own terms, in your own home, versus living your life on someone else's rigid schedule. Now, before we take another step forward, I want to tease something incredibly important, because I know how easy it is to want to fast forward or skip ahead to the good stuff. The number one habit on our list today, the absolute heavyweight champion of all 6 behaviors, is something that almost nobody in the mainstream health media is talking about right now. It has absolutely zero to do with your diet, and it has nothing to do with exercise in the traditional sense of the word. In fact, most cardiologists do not even think to bring it up during a routine office visit. Yet the staggering data coming straight out of world-class institutions like Johns Hopkins and the University of Edinburgh suggests it may very well be the single greatest predictor of cognitive and physical independence after you cross the age of 75. So I am asking you sincerely to stay with me all the way through to the very end of this video, because understanding that one single habit could genuinely transform the entire trajectory of the rest of your life. But before we dive headfirst into this countdown, I want to pause and ask you a personal favor. Take a moment right now to drop your age in the comment section down below. Whether you are 68, 74, 81, or somewhere else entirely on this beautiful journey, let me know how old you are, and tell me honestly which of these habits you think you already have dialed in. I want you to know that I personally read every single comment left on this channel, every single one of them. This incredible community means absolutely everything to me. Your unique story truly matters, and I want us to step away from the lecture format and have a real, meaningful conversation down there. Now, let us officially begin our countdown from number 6 all the way down to that mysterious number 1, starting with a daily practice that sounds almost too elementary to be life-altering, though I assure you the deep cellular science behind it is anything but simple. Number 6 is drinking water strategically, not just casually. Here is the blunt truth about what the vast majority of well-meaning folks get completely wrong about hydration after they turn 75. They mistakenly operate under the assumption that their body handles fluids the exact same way it did back when they were 45. It absolutely, positively does not work that way anymore. Once you cross over the threshold of age 70, your kidneys lose approximately 40% of their structural filtering efficiency. At the exact same time, your body's internal thirst signals become significantly blunted and muted. This means that you genuinely, truly stop feeling thirsty even when your body is entering a state of severe, dangerous dehydration. To make matters worse, your bloodstream's capacity to carry oxygen and life-giving nutrients directly to your muscles and your brain drops miserably with every single percentage point of fluid you lose throughout the day. I want you to visualize your bloodstream like a bustling river delivery system. When that river runs high and strong, goods move smoothly. But when the water level runs low, the delivery trucks get stuck in the mud, important packages get lost in transit, and the entire logistical operation starts breaking down rapidly. That is precisely what chronic mild dehydration does to an aging body day in and day out. Consider a major research study published in the European Journal of Nutrition that tracked 3,500 adults over the age of 70. The scientists discovered that the individuals who maintained a consistent, intentional, daily fluid intake above 1.8 liters showed a remarkable 38% lower rate of painful urinary tract infections. Not only that, but they experienced a 29% reduction in dangerous falls because hidden dehydration dramatically impairs your balance, spatial awareness, and physical reaction time. Furthermore, these hydrated individuals scored significantly higher on short-term memory and cognitive focus tests. The human brain is composed of approximately 75% water. Even a tiny, seemingly insignificant 2% drop in your body's overall hydration levels causes measurable, undeniable cognitive impairment at any stage of life. But after the age of 75, that exact same fluid drop is violently amplified because your brain's natural compensatory mechanisms are already burning extra fuel just to maintain a basic, everyday baseline function. Here is the hidden key that transforms this from a chore into a highly effective habit for truly exceptional seniors. They do not just casually sip water whenever they happen to remember it. Instead, they make it a non-negotiable rule to drink 12 to 16 ounces of pure water first thing in the morning, before they touch a cup of coffee, before breakfast, before anything else enters their system. Why? Because the human body loses a massive amount of fluid overnight simply through the act of breathing and minor unnoticed perspiration. And by the time you pass 75, your overnight fluid deficit is typically 30% higher than it was during your midlife years. After that morning rehydration ritual, these top-tier seniors make sure to drink a small glass of water with every single meal, alongside one dedicated glass right in the middle of the afternoon. Now write this down, because this synergy tip is absolutely critical. You need to pair that vital morning water with a tiny, subtle amount of sodium. I am not talking about standard, highly processed white table salt. I am talking about a tiny pinch of high-quality, mineral-rich sea salt, or a dedicated, clean electrolyte tablet dissolved in the glass. After age 75, your kidneys face a much harder time retaining necessary sodium levels. If you just flood your system with plain, completely stripped water, it will pass straight through your gastrointestinal tract and end up in the bathroom without ever being fully absorbed into your actual cells, where it is desperately needed to conduct electricity and keep you moving. Let me tell you about a real patient of mine named Margaret, a vibrant 81-year-old woman hailing from Boise, Idaho. Margaret walked into my clinic complaining of severe afternoon brain fog, terrifying bouts of dizziness whenever she stood up too quickly from her favorite armchair, and what she poignantly described as feeling like her entire train of thought was wrapped in thick layers of cotton. Now, Margaret was not dehydrated in some dramatic emergency room sense of the word. She was just living in a state of chronic, mild, everyday underhydration. We did not write her a heavy prescription. We made exactly one elegant change to her daily routine. We instituted strategic hydration, properly timed throughout the morning and afternoon, with a small, intentional electrolyte addition first thing when she woke up. Just 6 weeks later, Margaret sat across from me with a beaming smile and told me it felt like someone had finally come in and washed the dirty windows of her mind. Her physical balance improved dramatically, her afternoon fatigue vanished into thin air, and her independence was fully restored. One simple, well-timed habit yielded life-changing results. Moving down our list to number 5, we have resistance-based movement performed at least twice per week. I need to be ultra clear about something right now, because I see this concept profoundly misunderstood by seniors, caretakers, and even fitness trainers constantly. When I use the term resistance movement, I want you to erase the image from your mind of going to a commercial gym, standing around intimidating machinery, and lifting massive, heavy iron weights. That is not what this is about. I am talking about any intentional movement that asks your muscles to work actively against an opposing force. This can be as simple as utilizing a flexible rubber resistance band, lifting a couple of light dumbbells in your living room, performing gentle wall push-ups in the hallway, or even carrying your heavy reusable grocery bags from the supermarket with deliberate posture and intention. This distinction matters enormously after the age of 75 because of a frustrating physiological process known as anabolic resistance. Let me peel back the science and explain exactly what that looks like inside your body. Anabolic resistance is the markedly reduced ability of aging muscle cells to properly respond to dietary protein and physical exercise stimulation. In blunt, practical terms, it means that once you cross 75, your body requires a much stronger signal, a far more intentional dose of resistance, just to maintain the exact same amount of healthy muscle mass that a 50-year-old could easily maintain with half the physical effort. Your muscles have not grown lazy as you have aged. They have simply become harder to reach through standard daily activity. And if you fail to reach them with consistent stimulation, your body begins an aggressive downward spiral called sarcopenia. This is the progressive, rapid loss of muscle mass, quality, and raw strength. The brilliant researchers over at the Mayo Clinic have directly linked advanced sarcopenia to a terrifying 47% increased risk of suffering severe falls, a 53% higher likelihood of becoming completely unable to perform basic daily self-care tasks within a 5-year window, and a dramatically shortened overall lifespan. On the flip side, a magnificent study out of Tufts University followed a group of older adults between the ages of 75 and 85 who initiated a simple, twice-weekly resistance training protocol. After just 10 short weeks of consistency, the participants displayed an astonishing average increase of 37% in their overall leg strength, a 28% improvement in their objective balance scores, and here is the beautiful biological twist that always catches people off guard: a measurable, undeniable improvement in their insulin sensitivity. This directly optimizes your daily energy levels, stamps out systemic inflammation, and sharpens your overall cognitive function. The microscopic mitochondria residing inside your muscle cells, which are essentially the heavy-duty power plants responsible for generating the energy for your entire life, literally regenerate and repair themselves far more efficiently when physical resistance is introduced. You are not just vanity-building surface muscle. You are fundamentally rebuilding the energy infrastructure of your entire physical vehicle. The practical prescription I give to my patients is beautifully simple. Aim for 2 to 3 brief sessions per week, lasting just 20 to 30 minutes each, focusing entirely on the large foundational muscle groups that keep you upright and mobile: your legs, your hips, and your back. Elastic resistance bands are absolutely ideal for seniors because they allow you to provide progressive, challenging resistance to the muscle fibers without placing harsh, jarring impact on your joints. Now, here is your synergy tip for this habit. Make sure to perform your resistance session within a 30-minute window of consuming 25 to 30 grams of clean, high-quality protein. Why does this window matter so much? Because after 75, your body's anabolic window, that precise metabolic period during which your muscle cells can most efficiently absorb and utilize amino acids for structural repair, is much shorter and far less forgiving than it was when you were a younger adult. Proper timing is no longer an optional luxury at your stage of life. It is absolutely essential to get the results you deserve. That brings us smoothly to number 4 on our countdown: maintaining a consistent, purposeful sleep schedule. Now, before I unpack the surprising science of this habit, if this video is bringing real value into your morning, if you are learning things today that you deeply wish someone, anyone, had sat down and explained to you years ago, please take just one quick second right now to click that subscribe button down below. And if you have a dear friend, a neighbor, or a loved one between the ages of 70 and 90 who deserves to hear this empowering information, please share this video with them today. I say this with real emotion because this entire channel exists for one singular, unwavering reason: to arm seniors with the deep, science-backed truth that far too many rushed medical appointments simply never have the time to cover. Now, let us get right back to the topic of sleep, because this issue is infinitely more complex than just making sure you crawl into bed early. Once you cross the milestone of 75, your central circadian rhythm, your body's master internal 24-hour clock, begins to dramatically shift and critically weaken. Your aging brain naturally produces roughly 70% less melatonin, the vital sleep hormone, than it did back when you were 30 years old. Because of this, your slow-wave sleep, which is the deepest, most profoundly restorative phase of human rest, decreases by an eye-opening 80% from what it was in your youth. This deep, slow-wave phase is the exact time when your brain triggers the release of human growth hormone, the master compound responsible for systemic cellular repair, robust immune function, and structural muscle maintenance. And here is the hidden danger that most well-meaning folks fail to realize. Poor or erratic sleep after 75 is not just about feeling a bit groggy or tired the next morning. A profound study conducted by the University of California, Berkeley, revealed that adults over the age of 70 who suffered from chronically disrupted, inconsistent sleep patterns showed a startling 68% higher accumulation of toxic amyloid plaques in their brain tissue. These are the exact same destructive plaques heavily associated with the development of Alzheimer's disease and cognitive decline. The exceptional seniors who navigate their later years with pristine health do not necessarily just try to force themselves to sleep more hours. Rather, they prioritize sleeping with absolute consistency. They make an unyielding commitment to go to sleep within the exact same 30-minute window every single night of the week. They wake up at the exact same time every single morning, including on the weekends when it is tempting to linger in bed. They keep their bedroom explicitly cool, ideally calibrated between 65 and 68 degrees Fahrenheit, because your body's natural ability to regulate its own temperature during rest becomes significantly less efficient after 75. And a cool environment serves as a powerful physical trigger that supports the deep sleep your brain desperately craves. Furthermore, these healthy seniors completely avoid looking at electronic screens for at least 60 minutes before their head hits the pillow. This is not just because of the blue light emission, but because the intense mental stimulation of modern technology keeps your prefrontal cortex highly active in ways that delay sleep onset by an average of 47 minutes in adults over 70, according to meticulous research out of Harvard Medical School. Here is your lifestyle synergy tip for master-level sleep. Pair your consistent sleep schedule with exactly 10 minutes of slow, deep, diaphragmatic belly breathing right before you turn off the bedside lamp. This simple act powerfully activates your parasympathetic nervous system, which is your body's hardwired rest, digest, and repair mode. Excellent clinical research demonstrates that this brief breathing practice reduces nighttime cortisol stress hormone levels by up to 22%, making it significantly easier for an aging brain to naturally reach and sustain that precious, elusive, slow-wave, deep sleep. Number 3 on our countdown is eating protein in a deliberate, highly distributed pattern. This is an area where I witness the most dangerous, widespread misconception among seniors today, and to be completely frank with you, it genuinely concerns me as a practicing physician. The antiquated, sweeping idea that you naturally need to consume less dietary protein as you age is not merely factually incorrect, it may very well be one of the most physically harmful pieces of nutritional folklore ever passed down through the generations. The biological truth of the matter is the exact polar opposite. After the age of 75, due to that stubborn anabolic resist,